Hello, Nicole Reynolds here. I'm a senior at Emory's Gwiswoda Business School and took a class with Professor Foster entitled Foundations of Digital Enterprises and Markets. Dr. Foster, who's been working at the cutting edge of the global intelligent cloud for 30 years, has taught at Arizona State, Georgia Tech, and Emory's Gwiswoda Business School. His resume, videos, books, articles, and student evaluations can be found at fosterbrahm.com. Dr. Foster has found that most people over 40 are unable to integrate all of the cyber developments, while those under 30 have a much greater curiosity and willingness to do so using the internet. Take, for example, the widespread use of video games and the great confusion that surrounds their utility. Thus, parents in particular need to be aware of how to properly develop these abilities in their children, termed cyber kids. So, Professor Foster, today we're going to discuss these so-called cyber kids, the generational gap, and what Meyln Institute's cyber coaching can do to solve some of these problems. Could you first begin by explaining what you mean by the term cyber kid?
Thank you, Nicole. First I want to say I am a father of a 18-year-old young man, Austin, and one of the things about Austin started using a computer when he was age 2 and a cell phone by age 5. And it became very quickly apparent to me that Austin was a different species than I am. And here at Emory, we often talk about millennial kids as basically the kids who grew up with using a computer or a cell phone. But one of the really interesting things is people say basically people under 20 are not the millennial generation, they're another generation or many generations. So instead of trying to label, because technology is moving so quickly, instead of trying to come up with a quick label of what a cyber kid is, I think it is basically better to talk about cyber kids from those people who are 30 to those who are now just being born. So cyber kids is basically a whole new species of humans who have actually grown up, and because they were much more open as young kids, they have connected with the internet and with computers in a way that those of us who are over 40 will never be able to connect.
Interesting. So you brought up the fact that you're a father, you've got a son. I'm assuming he plays a lot of video games. Do you think that's a characteristic very apparent in these so-called cyber kids, or do you think it's kind of a cross?
I think what I'm one of the things I see is that many parents are deeply frustrated and concerned by how enamored their kids are with computer games. They don't understand why, and they're deeply feared that if they play so much games and don't attend to the basics, they'll never get into a good university and never get a good job.
So you think there's a very strong generational gap between the way these, parents of not necessarily a millennial generation, but of these cyber kids are really understanding their kids at a fundamental level?
Yeah, I say fundamentally there's a lot of parents who, because they are so torn about their kids and their computer games and their site, whether it's Facebook or whatever of the day, basically they don't even ask their kids what they're doing, why they like the game, how they'd like to improve it. They really are not relating to the kids, and so that the kids, many kids nowadays actually they're attracted to different things in computers, but they don't feel supported by their parents or their teachers. Nobody gets why they want to do what they want to do.
And would you say that's probably the biggest issue with this generational gap between these
the biggest generational gap is not that kids use technology differently, it's the breakdown in communications and the fact that parents don't know how to support their kids, their cyber kids.
All right. Well, as a father, having a son where I'm sure you've seen some of these issues, what do you propose as a solution to kind of fix this issue? It seems, you mentioned a communication, you mentioned this generational gap. What do you think can really be done to alleviate some of these problems and the pressures that are put between the parent and child?
Well, the first thing I say is the most important is to let the child feel supported and affirmed in terms of where he is with technology and where he wants to go with technology. So that fundamentally the first thing is, one, just to ask the kids, what do you want to do? What are you interested in? Why do you like this game? How would you improve it? These kinds of things that basically, so I'm not saying that, I'm not coming with a prescription of how a cyber kid should deal with technology or study technology. I am saying that basically that it's really essential to start asking these kids where they want to go, what they're doing, why they're playing these computer games, and I think this will transform kids. It'll turn them into learners, which is what I think every parent wants. They want their kids to be enthusiastic learners, and all I can say is, for my kid, I didn't understand a lot of the games he played, but I always tried to to be present with him, to find out what he was wanting, to talk to him about whatever he wanted to talk about technology. And I think he's become an incredible young man. And I think if you interviewed him, he'd say, I never told him not to play. Fundamentally, I think a lot of parents aren't quite ready. They feel their kids they don't feel comfortable that they have the same level of technology as their kids. So what we're proposing at the Meyln Institute is basically a cyber coaching service where we would come in and talk over the internet with your son or daughter for about a half hour and really start to find out where they're coming from and get them excited about who they are and what they're doing here on this planet. And then basically we can provide the parents with insights, as well as, if the kids want to learn how to do a website, we can provide suggestions on how to do that. If they want to run a global business or write a computer game, we can connect them with coaches who can support them, show them where the resources are, and empower them to start using technology. Honestly, I think some kids are ready to. What's the age for working now, Nicole?
Usually around 16, 18.
I think a lot of kids are ready to start working for the family much earlier, and I certainly think they should be encouraged, because if you can do things that are valuable for other people, and and you're using your technological skills and your business skills, that is just the path to success, as far as I'm concerned. How old was Bill Gates when he wrote his first program and sold it? I think it was 11, right? And so I think there's a lot of other kids who want to be creative, want to make money, working with their family. And so all I can say is, give us an institute. Just talk to your kid for a half hour. We'll show you the videotape, and I think you'll be amazed at how your sons and daughters will come alive with cyber coaching.
Excellent. Sounds good. Pleasure speaking with you.
Thanks, Nicole. I'm really proud of you.